Look at this quote here: turn your career into work for God. Look at those pictures there, top left. I think it's a nurse with a representation of Jesus next to her. And then the guy in the middle might be a lawyer or attorney or accountant. Do whatever your hand finds to do to the glory of God. Whatever you do, if it is praying, if it is a word of encouragement, edification, you can change lives wherever you are by being a positive force. Look at these next video clips on these amazing animals and nature created by God.
An oogpster beetle in South Africa. He hunts ants. Eating ants may give him more than just nourishment. He may get something else from them that helps him fight his enemies. The ants launch a counterattack and nip his ankles, but he simply kicks them out of the way. The valiant ants drive him off, straight into real danger. A mongoose. It's inquisitive, but it's also wary of the oogpster. A black and white pattern is a warning signal. The beetle takes aim and fires formic acid straight at the mongoose's eyes and mouth. The beetle probably collected this acid from the ants. It certainly makes the beetle itself very distasteful, and that, in turn, makes it worth mimicking. This defenseless little lizard carries the beetle's warning pattern. It also imitates the way the beetle runs. Not particularly well, it's true, but well enough to fool predators into thinking it just might be an acid-firing beetle. All kinds of insects have developed chemical weapons. A pair of stick insects. They fire bitter-tasting oils, terpenes. European wood ants under attack from a hungry crow. They fire the sort of acid that gives nettles their sting, so this is like one of us falling into a nettle patch. But the master of chemical warfare is the bombardier beetle. It can create a chemical reaction within its body so violent that boiling caustic liquid explodes out of its abdomen. By pulsing the jet 500 times a second, it keeps its rear end just cool enough to prevent it being cooked.
Meet the elusive vicuña, whose wool is worth more than gold. Here in northern Bolivia, a single kilogram of this wool can sell for $370. And once the product hits shelves in Italy, a coat made of vicuña wool can cost around $35,000.
Let's just pause here. How can you become a great entrepreneur? Look at that, a vicuña coat, $35,000. That is approximately 700,000 Rand for the coat. Now I think that is a lot less than the farmers get. Why do the guys that sell the coats, make the coats, make so much more money? Because they're entrepreneurial. And the guy that runs the business, or is an entrepreneur and is in control of the setup, often makes the most amount of money. You guys must become entrepreneurs. What about going to do some holiday work on one of these vicuña farms, or the outlets or manufacturing branches that make these coats? But people say, well, how will we ever get that job? This is one of the things I'd like students at school and university to become more bold at. Phone them and ask them. I started a little project with Kirsty where she phones these companies that we do these programs on in WiserEachDay, and we say to them, we got entrepreneurial, dynamic young people in the little school that want to come and do holiday work, intern work at your business. And almost every single one of these businesses on WiserEachDay said, please come and work for us, come and learn. We'd love to help kids and young people from South Africa to learn and then maybe do the same in South Africa or branch out these businesses around the world. Be bold, ask.
But herding communities in the Apolobamba mountain range can only shear vicuñas once every 2 years. And while conservation efforts have ensured that vicuñas thrive in their natural habitat, vicuña wool is extremely fine compared to other furs. Vicuña wool density is measured in microns. An adult vicuña produces wool that measures 13 microns. Compare that to alpaca wool at 22 to 24 microns, or llama at around 30 microns. This ultra-fine fur is what makes vicuña wool the most expensive textile in the world. But to produce fine wool like this, the first step is capturing the herd. The community began preparing for this capture a month in advance. In addition to monitoring the herd and tracking its movement, they must build what's called a capture chute. This acts as a herding device to move the vicuña toward a temporary enclosure.
Es en el arreo, ese es más difícil porque son dispersos los grupos, entonces a veces digamos hay poca gente, puedes juntar todos pero ya no haces llegar como hace rato, se hacen vencer ya todo. Que la vicuña no es igual que alpaca, alpaca tiene menos fuerza, la vicuña tiene más fuerza y fácil puede digamos accidentar, ¿no?
Once the vicuñas are properly grappled, they can be sheared. Their fur must be at least 2.5 centimeters long for collection.
En su ingreso de la economía.
Embracing the herd of vicuñas is important, because raising camelids, like alpacas, is an essential way of life here in Bolivia.
Esta región simplemente vivimos de crianza de camellos, simplemente eso. No produce ni una papa en este sector. Todo es alpaca en ese sentido.
Unlike alpacas, vicuñas cannot be domesticated, and they are much more difficult to come by. But the good news is that the herd is growing. As of 2019, the vicuña count in Apolobamba was over 12,000, and it is estimated to have grown another 9% since then. This is an astonishing number, given that at one point there were only about 65 vicuñas left in this region. The vicuñas in the Apolobamba Integrated Management Natural Area, or ANMI, are now protected, and the years in between shearing are entirely focused on conservation.
En los últimos años se está tomando mucho en cuenta el bienestar animal, ¿no? Por lo que está prohibido manejarlo de la oreja, prohibido agarrar, porque es un animal muy delicado, como es un animal silvestre, se dañan, ¿no? Y se puede infectar y enfermar las vicuñas.
After a checkup on their health, the vicuñas are released back into the wild. Bolivia offers 3 kinds of fiber, mainly to European markets. These are raw fiber, cleaned fiber, and pre-carding fiber. Pre-carding fiber increases the initial cost of the product by 25%. This is a process that involves manually removing bristles from the fleece. Pre-carding 1 to 2 fleeces takes a full day. The vicuña industry is still growing in Bolivia as more communities develop the skills and tools necessary to produce the fiber.
Okay, so here's one of the biggest business websites, businesses for sale now around the world. So this is fascinating because if you look here, there are 57,000 businesses approximately for sale now. That means there are 57,000 different, very different or slightly different ways of making money. How many industries are you being exposed to at school? This is a real eye-opener. I was having a discussion with Tamarin about this the other day, that at school people could expose people to so many more different industries. If you click here on sectors, you'll see all these sectors open. Agriculture, there are 363 different kinds of ways to do business, different industries. Within industries, you got different industries, agricultural supplies, farms, you can sell farms, be a estate agent, ranches as well, engineering, consultancy, electrical, manufacturing. If you just go to food, cafes, food and drink distribution, food and drink manufacture, food and drink wholesaling, restaurants, retailers, franchises have so many different ways of making business. Leisure, entertainment, hotels. We'll keep away from the pubs and bars. Recreation, if you click on recreation, aquatic and marine, bowling, fishing, golf, health, fitness, health farms, horse riding, there we go. Sports, outdoor adventure, 118 different types of businesses. So one of them, one of the most important things that you are at school for is to find a great career one day. This is not like some kind of club or hobby where the main thing to do here is try and cum laude or be head boy or head girl or whatever, or be like the best at every kind of sport. The actual main reason for school is actually to get you and give you a great career. But so few career paths are even shown to students at school. So when they get to 18 and they got to study something, they don't really know what to study.
This is Carmelo, and he started SprayNet at 23 years old and scaled it to $30 million a year.
Let's just pause quickly. $30 million a year. This guy's already making approximately 600 million rand a year. That's like going towards R1 billion a year. And what did he start at 23? How do you get a job with him? Well, like Kirsty and I did. We contact these guys and ask them, we're from South Africa, we got dynamic young people in South Africa, we want to build up South Africa and Africa's economy, we want to send people over that can learn your skills and what you've learned. Can they come and work there? And most of these people say, yes, please send them, we'd love to learn. Ask people, knock, and the door will be opened. Be dynamic and bold, ask for opportunities.
Business is either growing or it's dying. You can't stay like this. You can start a business with not that much money.
His secret? Well, he realized the gap that everyone in the painting industry failed to see.
For me, like when people say it's always been done that way, that triggers me. If it's always been done that way, that means nobody ever really looked into it, and then you probably should. And it all started with an idea that everyone said was impossible. You can't fail if you don't quit. We actually have a patent on this process. Nobody really believed that this was possible.
Carmelo, I'm excited to get into this interview. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the business side of things, tell us who you were at like 23. What were you doing before SprayNet came into being?
What was I doing at 23? I was actually in this industry. I was actually a student painting franchisee. You know, brushing, rolling conventional paints on. And
you got into it just like for any other reason, right? Make some bucks here and
there?
I
just really always want to start my own business. And you know, they came to our university, had a recruitment seminar, and I can start my own business, I don't care what it's in, let's do it.
Where are we exactly, and how do you utilize this building here?
This is actually our SprayNet HQ. It's our biggest of our offices, and we've got our most inventory here. We manufacture here and we distribute most of North America through here.
Wow, so across how many locations as of today?
About 130.
Everything pretty much comes out of here, and then what's the other location?
Miami location. So we've got a Florida location, we've got this location here.
So at 19, you became a franchisee of College Pro, right?
Yeah.
How did that happen? What are the costs, just in a nutshell, so we understand that a 19-year-old can make it happen?
What is cool though about College Pros is it's intended for students. So there's no upfront cost, but you gotta grind. So you gotta bootstrap. So you basically are knocking on doors to get jobs. And then with those jobs, you're financing the rest. So you're starting with very little money.
How much?
Like less than 5,000. So basically, you get your truck, you get a small used truck, obviously, and some equipment. I mean, starting a paint company doesn't require much equipment, right? Brushes, rollers, pans.
Right.
So not much to it. You can start with that.
College Pro kind of gave you the base to get going, to understand the industry a little bit. What did you learn a lot? What takeaways?
College Pro was by far the best learning I've ever had in my life, right? Like, they taught us how to sell, they taught us how to grind, how to knock on doors, how to manage people. They literally taught us everything.
Do you have an idea but lack the expertise? Well, Carmelo here reformulated paint with zero background in chemistry. You won't want to miss this. All right, how many square feet do you have here?
We've got about 15,000 square feet here.
15, and you're utilizing really every square inch of it.
Yeah, and our other office too is like full to the rim.
So what happens? You got the delivery station, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, raw materials will come in here.
Yeah.
And then these are actually our shipping lanes here. So
this is actually going to where? Job sites?
Yeah, so this is going to franchisees.
Phoenix.
So Cincinnati, Jersey South, Austin, Jacksonville.
Oh, wow.
So what ends up happening here is we create the big batches of base.
Gotcha.
And then we start separating it into smaller colors. Yeah, so this will probably be turning into a whole bunch of different other colors.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
then the base is like a gray looking color.
Yeah, depending on the
Doesn't
product.
really matter which color it is.
Yeah. When I was doing College Pro, I was never really satisfied with the products that we were applying or whatnot. So I actually just decided to throw some flyers out there called SprayNet. And the year after, I actually never had the intent to continue, but a few customers called me. Yeah, and I was like, okay. First one, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. Second one, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. A third one called me like 2 days later. I'm like, you know what? Call the other two people back, signed all three of those jobs. I said, hey, let's do this again. Buy back all the equipment.
Wait, so you have these flyers, you're giving them out even though your intention is to really not pursue it, and then people start calling? Did I understand you right?
Yeah, so the end of my last year of College Pro, I was like, well, let's try this new service out. And it was just kind of to fill up the end of the season. And then people kind of kept them for the year after, and I was like, well, maybe we're onto something. This whole spray application is good. And then that's where we took it from there. We just
At that point, you didn't engineer anything, you didn't change the game in any way at that point, right?
No, at that point I was literally like, I need a better finish than brush and roller, so let's spray it on. That was our innovation.
That's it.
Spray applied. That's it.
That's where SprayNet came from?
Exactly.
So guys, be entrepreneurial, be creative. I saw these doors overseas that are not automatic, so they're a lot cheaper than automatic doors, and I wanted to bring them to South Africa, into factories where I work, because there's a real opportunity for this. And where did I start? I started with the smallest parts, the hinges, meticulously building it up part for part. And I just want to encourage you guys, be creative. Look at this girl here playing, volleyball. And look, after she scores a point, she's got a little dance she does. The crowd absolutely loves it. Who knows? That can become her primary business on YouTube. Like, she can get millions of subscribers. The people love it, and she can be earning more with her dancing than volleyball. Look, the next dancers also, they had a skill for dancing, put it on YouTube. Many of them have millions of subscribers and sponsors. And nowadays you can make a business out of almost anything. But we need students at school and at university that are not just looking for work, looking for jobs, sending out CVs, who's going to employ me, looking for employment, but being more entrepreneurial and dynamic, looking to create businesses, looking to start businesses, looking to grow businesses. It's a more creative process than just asking people to give you a job. But being creative in creating your ultimate job and lifestyle. Do today what others won't so that you can live tomorrow like others can't. Use your holidays, use your weekends, do internship. Go and work at places that inspire you. Be dynamic in looking for business opportunities. I'll just use this person as example. Say he has a passion for flying, and he sees that the US Fish and Wildlife Department is struggling to stock the high altitude lakes in the United States with fish. He figures out that he can use his aeroplane to fly over and drop small fish out of the aeroplane with a high degree of safety in not killing them. And so he gets the contract, and he can turn his dream, his passion of flying, into a business that can earn millions of dollars a year as he gets and employs people more and more to do this for him in other planes as well.
The Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, or DWR, shared this unique footage from their summer aerial fish dumps, a practice that restocks over 200 of Utah's high-altitude mountain lakes per year. Planes zoom just above the tree line, carrying hundreds of pounds of water and up to 70 pounds of fish. They drop about 35,000 fish in a single flight. Blast out of the back of an airplane, but it actually serves a practical purpose. We'll dive into the process of aerial fish dumping and explore why it's such a vital annual practice in Utah and other states around the US. Because the lakes are such popular fishing spots for hikers and campers, if Utah's DWR didn't restock the lakes every year, they'd be fishless. These fish are raised in hatcheries specifically for the summer aerial drops, and they're bred to be sterile to avoid disrupting the lake's respective ecosystems with an uncontrolled population explosion. These days, planes can stock 7 lakes in a single flight, making it both the most cost-effective option and the safest. Aerial drops may be done for the year, but keep an eye out for the flying fish again in July.
If you want to be the best in the world at anything, you cannot follow prescription. If you want to be okay at it, then sure, you can follow prescription. If you want to learn how to lose a pound a month and get in decent shape, then you can follow a calorie counting worksheet. But if you want to be a shredded bodybuilder or an Olympic athlete, you're not going to get there through how-tos. You're going to have to create and forge your own path that is unique to you. For mechanical things, how-tos work. But when you're trying to operate at the top of a field, or when you're trying to do something creative, how-tos don't work beyond the most extreme basics. I can't watch Roger Federer play tennis and swing the racket the same way, nor will any description from him on how to swing the racket get me to swing it the right way. Then we go to intellectual efforts. We start asking Warren Buffett why he invests in a company, and there he can try and create a mental construct as to how he thinks and how he invests in the company. But there are just as many details to Warren Buffett's activities when he decides what to invest in and how he lives his life and how he thinks, as there are to Roger Federer's body running around a tennis court hitting a ball. The details are not transmissible. They're not copyable. You can be inspired to try it yourself, but without that sincerity, that obsession, you won't get there.
One of my other related tweets is, the only true test of intelligence is if you get what you want out of life. And this one triggered a lot of people, which I love the tweets that I trigger a lot of people, but they're undeniably true, which is intelligence is like this abstract concept that we talk about, but the real measure is, did you get what you wanted out of life? And there's 2 parts in there. It's not just one part. One part, of course, is were you able to hack reality to get what you wanted? But the more important part is, were you smart enough to figure out what to want in the first place? And that means there are many booby prizes that simply aren't worth having. And then there are others that are out of your reach. It's ludicrous for me to desire wings or even to travel into a rocket into outer space, because it's either low ROI effort or it's unachievable for me. So what I want to do is to figure out what it is that is worth wanting. And remember, not wanting something is as good as having it. So if you can not want in the first place, that's even better. But the test of intelligence here is getting what you want out of life, but also knowing what to want.
So be creative in everything you do, all your products, all your business strategies. Be creative, design new and unique products, be a leader in your field.
maybe younger entrepreneurs, they have these ideas and they're like, I don't have a lot of capital. How do I get into it? What would your advice be to them?
Yeah, I would say Google. Like, Google everything, look online, like, how do I start a business? What does that mean? And I would say, like, you need to be able to sell. So if you want to take a sales course, knock on doors, create branding, and understand marketing. I mean, if you're not marketing your business, you're not going to have sales. So you need to understand marketing and sales. It starts there. Once that happens, then you can figure out the rest. So.
SprayNet, that's what it was like for you, honestly? Just knocking on doors was the initial way of...
knocking on doors and doing good work. And once you do good work, jobs create jobs, right?
Yeah, they speak for itself.
Yeah, exactly. And especially today, Google reviews and all of that kind of stuff, like, you can grow pretty quickly. Our first-year franchisees in the US are doing just shy of 500,000 in revenue. Our Canadian franchisees on average are doing 1.2 million in revenue.
Wow. It's a different market.
Well, no, only because they've been there longer. So I'm talking about first year and then, second and third years. So that's the average for that. In terms of gross margin, we actually have amongst the highest in the industry just because we're doing something that's so different. So our average gross margin across the system is 59.44%.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So.
Did you guys hear that? 59.4%?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible.
The only reason we're able to do that is because we're not selling time, right? We're selling something that's unique. So they're getting value from it because it's a fraction of the cost of replacement. And as a result, our franchisees are getting value from it.
Man, if that doesn't excite you as much as it does me. What was your first residential job? Can you remember? First client?
It was a front door, actually. So that was the whole reason why we formulated these products. Because when I was doing College Pro, we were brushing and rolling front doors, and I was never really satisfied because I'm like, well, it kind of looks painted.
Right, yeah.
I was like, this is a front door of like $1 million home. I was like, this is not good.
Yeah.
Right, this doesn't look new. So the first job we actually did that we sprayed was a front door because that was really what I was trying to focus on. And with conventional paints, I used flow modifiers and different brushes, different rollers, foam rollers, different products. And I can never get that factory finish. And then I realized, well, we had to spray, and then above and beyond that, realized, well, the products had to be more durable too.
Gotcha. You were shocked when you got your patent and realized no one else is doing this. And here you are doing what SprayNet does at its best. What lessons can entrepreneurs take away from watching that?
Everybody always looks at things the way that they've always been done. And as entrepreneurs, we kind of have to take a different angle, and reflect on, is there a better way to do this? Because there's always constraints. And it's like, well, if we can look at those constraints and find a solution around that, then you have a product that works. And often people just don't think to look past that. And it's just question everything.
Question. So that's the key, is like, is there another way to do it? Is there a better way to do it?
Yeah.
And so on. Do anything else besides that? No commitments?
No, zero. So the big thing is, on your garage door, we give a 15-year no-peel warranty. So
wow, really?
It actually won't look like it's painted.
The other guys were saying 2 years max.
Well, usually that's what it is. And I wouldn't suggest putting a conventional paint on your garage door, only because it's not as scratch resistant as you'd like, and it'll eventually fade pretty quickly too. So you want a factory finish. That's basically our whole concept, right? We deliver the factory finish on site, and we give you a 15-year no-peel warranty.
Okay. Man, you have 3 patents right now total? What are they? Talk to us about that.
So our first one is actually on our ability to be able to spray vinyl in darker colors. The second one is actually on our ability to weather adjust our coatings. So what most people don't
weather adjust your coating?
Yeah, so weather adjust, because most people think like, okay, when I paint something, I gotta prep it, and I gotta have the right paint. That's 60% of the battle. The other portion of the battle is, what does the weather look like? Will that film coalesce properly? Will it dry properly? So we know that depending on the weather, that'll change. So we actually adjust the coating for the weather. The third one is actually pending one on our new roof coating. So what we've done is we've actually liquefied a roof. So we've taken the same granules that you'd have on a roof, enveloped them in a resin, and we spray that over a roof. So it actually sticks onto the roof, fortifies it, so it actually increases the grade of the roof. You can change the color of it, and basically prolongs its life.
Dude, that's pretty cool. You started your business in a recession. What was that like for you?
Actually, for our type of business, it was kind of a positive because people are looking for a cheaper alternative, right? So they're not replacing their windows anymore. They're not, necessarily want to replace their doors or their siding. It's like, well, it can give me all those benefits, but for a fraction of the cost. So we really positioned ourselves properly during that period, and that's what actually helped us grow as fast as we did.
One piece of advice you'd like to leave with our wonderful audience?
You can't fail if you don't quit. I mean, just keep going. Favorite quote is actually by Henry Ford: whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right either way. So just keep going, don't quit, and you'll get it done.
That's awesome. It's been my pleasure, Carmelo. Thank you, my friend.
Look at the story of Bob Munden. Fastest gun in the world. Fastest guy to draw a gun in the world. Like, I don't know how many subscribers he has or his YouTube channel, but he can get millions of subscribers. He can make a huge business just out of how the people love him for how quick he is with a gun. He can get sponsors It's just incredible. You guys can turn almost anything into a business.
Bob Munden says he's the fastest gun who ever lived. No one has yet proved him wrong.
Anytime you feel lucky, make the first move.
Munden is a modern-day gunslinger, traveling from town to town, proving just how fast a draw he really is. A page right out of the Old West. Well, maybe an Old West movie. But he's built on that Hollywood fallacy and the Western television series of his childhood to become a fast draw expert. He's been doing this for more than 30 years. Just how fast? Well, thanks to slow motion, we're able to time his draws to less than 0.2 of a second. Fast, maybe, but could he hit anything or anyone drawing that fast? He didn't have any trouble hitting this cup before it hit the ground. And this balloon didn't have a prayer. But watch this. Now watch again carefully in slow motion. In 1/10 of a second, he fires off not one but 2 shots, hitting both balloons dead on. Not too many young gunslingers offer to take Munden on.
So we're looking at another industry, music. Didgeridoos. Do you guys know didgeridoos? This is quite a big instrument from Australia, from the Aborigines. And nowadays you see it all over the world, but it's quite fascinating.
The didgeridoo is an Australian Aborigine instrument. In Australia, there are thousands of termite mounds, and it is estimated that there are 20 million termites per hectare, tirelessly building great mountains of earth and clay. Termites burrow into trees, especially the eucalyptus, hollowing them out but not killing them. The men check the trees in the forest. If the termites have finished hollowing the wood out, the men will cut it down to make their valued instrument. They clean it, removing the bark, and with an iron bar heated in a fire, they finish emptying the inside of the trunk. The didgeridoo is ready. The musicians themselves are responsible for making and checking the sound of their instrument.
Think big, guys. Change your industry. Be unique in the products and services you deliver to the glory of God. Produce much fruit and change the people you work with, their lives and your clients' lives. Be a positive influence on this earth.